Hello, yes, hi, and welcome to the Dark Knight Conspiracies. The Great Divide. Time to go to the Mattresses, episode 56. Well, hello everybody. I'm back here, and I know I've taken a little time to come out with something, but I always follow my 48-hour rule. And the problem is, something breaks. Instinctively, you want to react right away, but the best thing to do is just take a deep breath, sit back, and digest it, and do some research. And often you'll find out that your initial instinct, after taking some time to think and research, you'll sometimes come up with a different conclusion or a different outcome of what you originally thought. Sometimes your first instinct is the best one. But we've seen a lot of stuff these last couple weeks. I want to address some of it. And I want to start off with, I started listening to alt media back in the mid 2000s, and back then there were very few people to listen to, but what happened on 9/11 spurred a lot of this stuff. Now the actual dean of all this was Art Bell. He was doing this back in the 80s and 90s, and I really suggest you go look up some of his old broadcasts. You can find a lot of them on YouTube, and he was ahead of his time, and he laid the groundwork for what a lot of us are doing right now. Then you had Alex Jones. Despite what you may think of him, he did a lot of good in the beginning. Don't know what happened there, somewhere in the middle towards the end. But my point is, like anything else, you have I'll just call them the white hats and the black hats. So for every white hat that was out there trying to do some good and expose some things, you probably had 3 or 4 black hats out there creating their own shows, and this is where the discernment comes in. I find that after you listen to certain channels for an extended period of time, ultimately you'll see their true colors, and I'm starting to see a little bit of that right now. Now, what I mean by that, there's certain channels out there, and for those of you that watch these channels, none of them, there's ones out there that will not say a bad word about our previous POTUS. Some say he's the current POTUS. Time will tell. They will not question anything that this individual does. And if you do, if you're in a chat room or somewhere else, you get attacked. This whole 17 board, while it was fascinating to watch it play out, I'm going to say it, a cult formed out of that movement. And my opinion, you're subjecting yourself to tunnel vision, to one-dimensional thinking. We were not put on this earth for one-dimensional thinking. we were given the gift of logical thinking, discernment, question everything. The 17 board has mentioned that several times. Question everything. So why wouldn't I have the right? This is what makes this country so great. We have the right to question our political leaders. Doesn't mean we're right, doesn't mean we're wrong, but we have that right to question them. Unlike some other countries around the world, look what happens to you if you speak out against your political leaders. Not a good scenario. But we have that luxury, and for some of these people to not question certain things that are going on, that have been going on, not addressing certain things, I have issues with that. There's certain channels out there that will not say a bad thing about our previous POTUS. They will not address the jab stuff that's going on. Videos are all out there. I've seen numbers. Some people are reporting 45,000 people. Some have said 10,000. Some channels are bringing attention to this. Kudos to them. LT at And We Know, SGT, Mike Adams, they're at the forefront of reporting on this. The more information you have to make informed decisions, the better off you are. And look, our previous POTUS, I think he did some great things with the little time he had. And he may have a legitimate reason for why he did some of the things I question. Time will tell. I'll wait and see if I ever get that explanation. But the one thing that he is not being questioned on, and I do believe there's, some reasons for it, but promoting this jab. And some of it makes sense to me as far as some of the excuses I've heard. Yeah, it makes sense. He had to get ahead of it, because if it didn't happen that way, we were looking at lockdowns till 2023. I do believe that was their plan. Okay. But it's still being promoted to this day, and not just by him. I've watched people out there criticizing this stuff, and I'll name Dr. Peter Navarro. He's out there telling you how bad this stuff is, but on the other hand, nobody's questioning, well, why was your former boss, why is he out there promoting this stuff? Again, there could be a logical explanation, but I think it's a logical question for me to ask, and I could be wrong. There could be, reasonable explanation. It's just we haven't heard it. Now, we can see where this is all starting to go now. And I'll address this a little bit later on in the show. But, again, another instance was January 6th. We all know what happened. As far as what's being reported, again, I can't vet this. I don't know if all these people are sitting in jail and being tortured. But to sit there, and one individual said, well, they're prisoners of war. Okay, when I hear prisoners of war, typically these are people that understand, one, they're in a war. Two, they're on the battlefield. Three, they understand the consequences of being on that battlefield. These people on January 6th, they had no clue. They might have thought differently if they knew the outcome. But to sit there and suggest that they're prisoners of war, and yes, we should pray for them. But they didn't ask for this. They were showing their patriotism to the country. Yeah, in hindsight, it was a mistake. But, I mean, I can't tell you what I would have done if I was in that situation. I might have taken a stroll. Who knows? But we've seen innocent people getting harassed over this. There was the couple in Alaska. They were in California. They weren't even in D.C. And they got harassed by a 3-letter agency trying to say that they were there. And they had to go through tooth and nail. And let's face it, the average American, you can't afford to get these type of lawyers that you need. I guess it's more of a question of you just got to understand what your rights are and how to act. But certain individuals knew that this was going to happen. They actually wanted it to happen on both sides. So, my opinion, these people might have been sacrificed for the better of the good, but they didn't ask for this. And I don't know. I can't vet. I don't know if they're actually in there. It could be it's all, again, a movie. I don't know. But I got to act on what's in front of me, what I can physically see. I can't go through life thinking everything's fine. I'm just going to live my life. This is all under control. Nope. Nope. Because in my opinion, this can still go either way. And ultimately, regardless of your faith and what you might believe in, God's in control of this. He's the one actually making decisions, in my opinion. But that's just me. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. And then we've got General Flynn, Don Jr. You've got other people out there now on social media starting to blame the American people, that this is our fault, that we're not standing up for this, and we're not doing what France is doing, and we're not doing what this country's doing. I have concerns over that. Yeah, some of this is our fault. We let this go on for decades. We weren't paying attention. We were consumed with our lives, and we let these political leaders get away with whatever they wanted. I get all that. And get used to different, because regardless of how this turns out, we are not going back to those days. Those days are long gone. But to sit out there and say, on one side of the coin, don't give in, which I believe is the right response. This is what they've been trying to do since Trump took office. They've been trying to get us out there creating chaos and havoc so that they could target us, label us, which is what they've already done with these January 6 people. They've been labeled as domestic terrorists, but yet not a single charge has been brought. This is what they want, and we can't give in to that. And I know that's going to upset some people, but this is what I mean by going to the mattresses. It's an old mafia term. When a gang war started out, these guys would hole up in a safe house with nothing but mattresses on the floor and a place to sit and eat. And they would wait it out. My opinion, that should be our course of action. We can't give them the excuse that they're looking for, because quite frankly, I think we're on our own. Trust yourself and trust the Lord, because He is the only one that's going to walk with us through this. We don't know that somebody's got our backs and our best interests in mind. You know, somebody made the comment, oh, do you trust our military? And his response was, oh, absolutely. Let me just rattle off some stuff. World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Desert Strike, Afghanistan, Syria. How'd all that turn out? And I'm not blaming the people in our military and our vets. This is about the top brass. If you do some history and research, you'll find we've been lied to about every war we've been in. And war is profitable. And there's only certain people that profit off of it. It certainly isn't the people. So, when somebody says, do you trust our military? No. I'm sorry. Until they give me a reason to. Look what's going on at the border right now. We're being invaded, if it's all true. There's supposed to be de-evolution going on. I get that. Continuity of government. I get all that. I understand it. But at the same time, these people are allowed to invade and come into our country. I just think we're on our own. So that's my rant. And now we'll get into some articles. So this was published back in May, talking about a largest U.S. naval exercise in a generation. 25,000 sailors and Marines. Expected sometime late summer. Well, we got confirmation of that. It started, I believe, Friday and goes on for 2 weeks. Now, we got a lot going on next week, so we got this. We've got the emergency alert being tested on August 11th, Wednesday. Mike Lindell's doing his cyber symposium August 10th through the 12th. We're seeing stuff out of Arizona. Now Wisconsin looks like they're moving forward with their audits. Expect a narrative change to come very fast, folks. And we're starting to see some of it. Biden and Harris are tanking. they're tanking so bad. Joe Biden's got, and Kamala Harris have got cement shoes on. There's nowhere to go for these people but down. So expect some type of move. And the fact that we're seeing Como out there now being accused of sexual assault, obviously it's an action being done by the white hats or the black hats. We don't know. I saw an interview with Jack Cashel, author, journalist. He thinks this is Hillary Clinton's doing, and I can buy into that. If you think she's let go of 2016 and is just going to fade into the sunset, you got another guess coming. They're going to have to do something, whether it's Biden with the 25th Amendment or Kamala for her just total failure of doing anything as VP. And I think Como was that answer. I think he was going to come in as the VP. Don't forget, before Biden was the candidate, Como had the highest approval rating among Democrats during the situation back then. A lot of people thought he was going to run, but he chose not to. So I think it's interesting timing that now all of a sudden he's being somewhat taken out of the picture. We'll have to see how it plays out. Now here comes the divide part. This is what the ultimate goal is. They're going to start pitting people against people. They've been trying to do this since day one. It's just it hasn't worked. Now, it looks like it's getting serious because while they can't technically mandate it and get away with it, the go-around is they're going to leave it up to the private community, the businesses. And you're going to need your passport if you want to go to the grocery store, and this is a prelude to the mark of the beast. Because a lot of people are going to have the attitude, I'm sorry, well, I can't afford to quit my job. I've got a family. You know, I have to be able to go into a grocery store to buy groceries and feed them. This is where technically they're not forcing you, but they are kind of blackmailing you. It's a personal decision. And everybody has that right to make that decision. But ultimately, and we're starting to see it, certain groups are going to get blamed. And this is where this is headed. And from what I've heard of Wayne Willett and some other individuals out there, the white hats are going to let this proceed. So again, you're on your own, people. You need, those of you that are sitting back waiting for Trump to come in on the white horse, excuse me, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Everybody thinks this is all going to be done by August. Nope, not my opinion. I think we're looking well into the end of the year, if not leading up to 2022. We still got a long ways to go. Look how long Arizona, and I believe this is all, again, timing is everything. I believe this is all being delayed for specific reasons. But, you know, for those of people out there that constantly do a show based around the 17 board, talking about the red lines and this and that, here's a news flash for you. The black hats can read that board just as well as the white hats. And I don't know, I really don't think they're that stupid to cross these supposed red lines that are out there. We'll have to see. I don't know, maybe they are. But with what's going on next week with these exercises, the Symposium, the EBS system. And I just want to point out, how many times does something start out as an exercise and ends up going live? I could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But if you look back through some of the mass casualty events we've had, there was always some kind of drill or exercise going on within a mile away. And those people were quick to respond. So I'm just putting it out there. Again, that's why this is opinion and conspiracy. So this is where we're at. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And this is going to take a very long time to clean up. This thing is so deep and so corrupt. This ain't going to get settled in a couple months. So you better buckle up. And I hope I'm wrong on a lot of this stuff. But you plan for the worst and hope for the best. And history is considered the past. The future is not guaranteed. But the present is a gift. Hence why it's called present. So keep your faith. Ask for God's help. He'll give it to you. Stay strong, stay vigilant, stay safe, and may God bless you all. And with that, I'll say good night until the next show. God bless everybody.